All right, let's go over a few problems. So it says simplify the difference quotient, and I give the difference quotient here for the given function. So we need to know the two pieces of information. I have my f of x, and I need to know what my f of x plus h is. So it's my function with x plus h plugged in. So distribute the two. So now I can plug it into the formula. So f of x plus h, so 2x plus 2h minus 1, minus my f of x, which is 2x minus 1, all over h. So now I need to distribute that. So that becomes a negative and that becomes a positive. So 2x and minus 2x cancel out. Negative 1 and positive 1 cancel out. So I have 2h all over h. Since those are being multiplied, those factors reduce, and my answer is going to be 2. For this next one here, I need to find my f of x plus h. So that's going to be blank squared plus 2 times blank minus 1. So x plus h, x plus h. So this is going to be x plus h times x plus h. So multiplying that, x times x, x times h, x times h. So there's 2 of them. And then h times h. Distribute that. And then the minus 1. So now plugging it into the difference quotient. So now I get f of x plus h minus f of x all over h. So now the negative distributes. X squared cancels out with x squared. 2x cancels out with 2x. Negative 1 cancels out with positive 1. Factor out the h. So I'm left with 2x plus h plus 2. For number 4, it says determine whether or not the equation represents a function of y. So remember, we need to get y by itself, and we need to see, is there a plus or minus? So if I divide by x cubed, I'm going to get y equals negative 4 over x cubed. There's no plus or minus symbol, so therefore it is a function. For this one, I have to subtract the x squared, then divide everything by the negative. Now when I square root both sides, now I get plus or minus. So therefore, it's not a function. So it says describe whether or not these are functions, and then find the domain and range. So vertical line test, it passes. So yes, this is a function. And now finding the domain and range. So if I project, it goes on forever that way, it goes on forever that way, and so my domain is going to be negative infinity to positive infinity. Now if I project along the y, it's going to go all, and it's going to stop at 4. So my range is going to start at negative infinity and go all the way up to 4. Now for this one here, this is a little different and a little new. Sometimes we can kind of jump ahead when we need to just kind of focus on what's right in front of us. So it says let f be this function, so it's these set of points. Remember, these are our x's, and therefore I get a y value if I plug in an x. And then I have the same thing for g, compute the indicated values. So f times g of negative 2, remember that's the same as f of negative 2 times g of negative 2. So if I plug negative 2 into my f function, what do I get? Okay, well if I plug negative 2 into my f function, I get 2. So this is 2. If I plug negative 2 into my g function, what do I get? I get 0. So 2 times 0 which is 0. For this next one, this is f of 3 over g of 3. If I plug 3 into my f function, if I plug in 3, I get negative 1. If I plug 3 into my g function, I get positive 2. So my answer is negative 1/2. And this one is g of 1 over g of 1. If I plug in 1 into my function and my g function, so if I plug in 1, I get negative 3. If I plug in 1, I get negative 3, which is going to be 1. Now we do have to be a little careful when it comes to these, because what if, hypothetically, this was 0 over 0? That would be undefined. So don't just assume if they're the same top and bottom it reduces into 1, because you might get that 0 over 0.